News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and now 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
The request has been submitted for a new trial for Marcus Karma. Good morning, everyone. It's Montana Morning. It is Thursday, January 22nd, 2015. Right now, we do have some fog in the area. Aside from that, a mostly clear night, another beautiful starry sky. We've got 13 degrees in Missoula. And our newscast this morning, sponsored by Dig It Excavating, bringing 30 years of excellence to your job. The number to call, 214-4292. This morning's top story, attorneys for convicted murderer Marcus Karma have filed a motion in Missoula District Court asking for a new trial. Just hours after the verdict on December 17th, I spoke with lead attorney Paul Ryan. He was talking about some of his reasons for an appeal.
There was plans prior to the trial because we think some of the decisions that were made, including keeping it in this community, which is obviously very emotionally charged. There's been a tremendous amount of media attention, many of it negative, and so we think there's a number of appealable issues that the Supreme Court will have to address.
Ryan says there were a number of issues raised before and during the trial that require the attention of a higher court.
But there's a number of procedural things, a number of them, so it would be hard for me to address each one under these circumstances. But there's a number of things that we believe happened that were contrary to Montana law and that need to be addressed and looked over by the Supreme Court of Montana.
The 102-page document contains over 450 case-related news items, many that were highly prejudicial to Karma, including the release of his criminal history, which had been ruled inadmissible before the trial. The document also asked the court to modify the verdict by finding Karma guilty of mitigated deliberate homicide rather than deliberate homicide. Deputy County Attorney Andrew Paul simply stated his reply to the defendant's motion will be filed in district court. Karma is scheduled to be sentenced February 12th. Workers recovered about 10,000 gallons of oil from a ruptured pipeline that spilled crude into the Yellowstone River and contaminated the drinking water supply of an eastern Montana city downstream. An estimated 40,000 gallons is still in the river and will be difficult to remove because of a thick layer of ice. Bridger Pipeline says it'll provide bottled water for the city's roughly 6,000 residents. In a related story, many Montana politicians outraged over that oil spill, but few have had as personal an experience with the spill as State Senator Matt Rosendale.
It's my district, so that's a big involvement, but also my ranch fronts on the Yellowstone River for approximately 3.5 miles. The first concern that you always have whenever there's a spill like that is the drinking water. And Glendive has had some problems. They did pick up elevated levels of benzene. They do draw their water supply directly from the river.
Rosendale has been busy at the session in Helena since the spill. Even though he's a state legislator, he has very little power over the handling of the pipeline.
The biggest problem that we have is that these pipelines and these crossings, there's approximately 3,000 crossings that take place on perennial streams throughout the state. But these pipelines are controlled or regulated by the federal government. So the state does not have jurisdiction to say what type of monitoring needs to be put in place.
Rosendale has said he has heard that many pipeline companies have been held up by the federal government itself as they await approval to reconstruct their pipeline crossings. Bills to increase the minimum dropout age and provide state funding for students over the age of 18 have come before the legislature. Superintendent of Public Instruction Denise Juneau introduced the bills alongside two Democrats Wednesday at the Senate Education and Cultural Resources Committee. Senate Bill 14 would raise the public school dropout age from 16 to 18. Senate Bill 12 would provide state funding for students over 18 who are completing high school. As the investigation into a fatal officer-involved shooting continues by the Missoula Police Department, Public Information Officer Travis Welch details the department's official policy on such investigations.
Generally, there's an external investigation, typically completed by an outside agency. There's also an internal investigation that goes on at the same time that is conducted by the Office of Professional Standards here at the Missoula Police Department.
Following a coroner's inquest and a fitness review, including counseling for the officer, Welch said there is one final review.
Internally, the Missoula Police Department also holds a Deadly Force Review Board, which is made up of officers from the department who review these incidences and consider and make recommendations to the Chief of Police, which may reduce the possibility for the need to use deadly force in situations such as these or any in the future.
As of today, Corporal Paul Kelly is on paid administrative leave in the fatal New Year's Eve shooting of 20-year-old Caleb Williams. Deputy County Attorney Jason Marks indicated to KGVO News he has received the reports from both the city and the county and is reviewing them. An announcement as to the date of a coroner's inquest should be made soon. Staying with the topic of law enforcement, the University of Montana is not a gun-free zone. That being said, only law enforcement personnel are allowed to carry firearms on campus. UM Police Chief Marty Ludeman, a 30-year veteran of the Missoula Police Department, explains.
The University of Montana's police department is a state-accredited police department, just like the city police, sheriff's office, any police department that's in the state of Montana. We go to the same academy, we have the same trainings, the same responsibilities, and are held to the same standards as any police department in Montana.
Ludeman details the policy of allowing students or visitors to have firearms on campus.
They're checked in here at the police department. We store them, and if you want to check one out to, say, go hunting or something, then we check the gun back out to you. They're not allowed on campus in residential housing, so we basically store them for the students here.
A recent Associated Press report states that since the 2007 Virginia Tech shootings, more than two-thirds of all private and public college campuses employ armed officers. President Obama delivered his sixth State of the Union address, and in the chamber was Montana Congressman Ryan Zinke. Zinke gave his opinion of the night with the talkback on Wednesday morning.
Well, I've never heard a president say he wants to work together, but mention veto so many times. When I'm listening to it, it was literally like free pizza night. I mean, everything, education, tax credit, health care, everything was free, but the only way to pay for it is more taxes, and we're back to the tax and spend.
Senator Steve Daines also responded to Obama's speech by indicating that Montanans don't need more tax increases and more government spending. In fact, Daines says Montanans need more good-paying jobs.
If the president is serious about creating jobs and growing our economy, his first step would be approving the Keystone XL pipeline. Montanans deserve real solutions and results, not more partisan gridlock. I'll continue fighting for common sense, bipartisan solutions that grow our economy, lower energy prices, and put hardworking, middle-class Montanans first.
You can catch Zinke's full response on KGVO's Talkback podcasts on our website at newstalkkgvo.com. Right now, it's 6:10.
Newstalk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Be on the lookout for a few areas of patchy fog this morning, but for the most part, we stay clear. We'll see partly cloudy skies as we head into the afternoon with a high of around 30. I'm meteorologist Matt Gray for KECI 13, your first alert station.